I'm going to chew and train until I can beat this record.
A Rocky montage of just like biting into stuff, like random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Just crunching apples.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The lowest temperature.
I heard you. I don't believe you.
Like, well, now you guys are just being petty. This is really petty. Bunch of Irish people being all petty.
Come on.
Hello and welcome to this episode of I Should Have Known, the trivia game show that can't be trusted. Each week, one of our Quizmasters will present you with 4 facts about a topic, but one of those is a lie. We are celebrating everything of the human body this month, and this week, our Quizmaster is Sups.
Hello.
And Sups is going to be presenting us with 4 body extremes. This is actually a superlatives episode. He will give us 4 facts about the most, biggest, longest est of the human body. But remember that one of his facts is a lie. So join me, Andi, and our other host, Tanner, in figuring out which one it is.
All right. And all of these facts I've taken from the Guinness Book of World Records.
Mm-hmm.
So as of recording, these are the records, but maybe who knows by the time.
That's true. By the time you're listening, listener, these might have changed.
Yeah. So before we get started, we do the PQQ.
PQQ, this is our pub quiz question.
The PQQ of the week is, name the fastest moving muscle in the human body.
Ooh.
Fastest moving muscle.
So muscles have to like twitch to activate.
Right. I bet it's the tongue.
I think it's like that. It's an organ like the heart.
Yeah. I feel like, I know people often say the tongue is the hardest working muscle in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Could also be the eyes.
Could be something in the eyes.
There's
Definitely,
a couple
I'm thinking
muscles
it's
up
near
there.
the head because literally it's a shorter journey.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the eyes could be good, but I'm going to say the tongue, I guess.
Tongue.
I
Okay.
say the heart.
Okay. Well, it's neither, but you kind of dilly-dallied around the right answer.
Is it something in the eye?
It's the orbicularis oculi.
Uh-huh.
We have 2 of these, one in each eye, and they control the closing action of the eyelids.
It's blinking.
Yeah.
Literally blinking.
Yeah.
And they shut the eye in less than 100 milliseconds.
Ooh.
All right, so that's
Okay.
the fastest muscle.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting.
So we're ready for the human body extreme facts.
So ready.
All right. So fact number 1, the strongest human bite had a strength of 442 kg and lasted 2 seconds.
Wow. What are you eating that you need to bite that hard? You just annihilate an apple.
Let me give you some more details so then you'll know whether it's too little or too much.
Yeah.
Okay. So this record, it happened in August 1986.
Okay.
The person is Richard Hoffman in Lake City, Florida, and he achieved a bite strength of 442 kg, 975 pounds. This happened, of course, not while having his breakfast, but in a research facility.
Yeah.
So this was done by Dr. Charles Gibbs of the University of Florida College of Dentistry. He developed a set of padded bite plates where Richard Hoffman, who had extra strong jaw muscles, just went for it. And this was the highest that was recorded.
First of all, Florida.
Of course it's Florida.
Classic
Could
Florida.
have guessed.
Yeah. He's just channeling his inner gator.
So this figure is more than 6 times the normal biting strength of a human being. So human beings' bites are measured in PSI, which is pound square inch, right? So humans usually have about 100 to 160 PSI.
Okay.
For example, a crocodile has about 3,700
Yeah,
PSI.
so that's what I was thinking. I was like, I've seen this for animals. Other animals can do thousands of pounds.
Yes. There's a reason why we have a weaker jaw and we can't bite as hard as crocodiles because we're used to eating cooked food and weaker jaws also means more space for the brains.
Yeah.
But as soon as I heard this, I was like, that could easily be a lie because that could be how hard gators bite because it's Florida. But then you said thousands and I was like, oh, I'm way off.
Well, that was my first thought I was like, yeah, I know a lot of other animals can do it pretty high. I mean, it does make sense that humans wouldn't be able to bite as hard. We don't have to evolutionarily. And then also the shape of our mouths, like, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. Bite smarter, not harder, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's also sketchy because, like, Speaking of Florida and Americans, it's like, if you think about Guinness records and someone hears something like this, somebody's going to be like, I'm going to chew and train until I can beat this record.
A Rocky montage of just like biting into stuff, like random stuff.
Yeah. I love it. Just crunching apples.
Yeah.
With the Eye of the Tiger in the background, just jumping on apples and stuff. So it's kind of weird to me that this was like a one-off event.
Yeah.
And that in the 80s, and this is the best anyone's done.
But it's totally believable that someone heard about this and they're like, I'm going to break that.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, now they will probably.
Yeah.
They're
now
listening
I'm going to.
Well, dear listener, if you go for this record and you get it, we have to be included in your write-up.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. But definitely skeptical.
There's 3 more, so I guess I'll bite.
Okay. Fine. All right. Fact number 2. The lowest temperature to which a human body has been intentionally cooled is 9 degrees Celsius.
Oh boy.
Wait, what?
The lowest temperature to which...
I heard you. I don't believe you. Wait, what?
9? Let me repeat that. Wow. Since most of our listeners are American, maybe we should tell them what that is.
It is about 48.2 degrees in Fahrenheit.
48.2 degrees, so almost half of a normal body temperature.
Yeah. So well past hypothermia. Oh my God.
So this was intentional.
Right.
So from Florida, let's now go to Minnesota.
Okay. All right. We're already much more reasonable.
So this was 28th December 1955. Doctors were treating this woman. It's only by her case number, which is AH211243 of the Anchor Hospital in St. Paul, Minnesota, for a terminal ovarian cancer. During that time, they had to cool down the body to perform major surgeries. Okay. And during this operation, the patient's heart rate was slowly decreased until cardiac standstill was reached. And then they were measuring the temperature of the body, both by a rectal thermometer and an electric probe. It reached 10.5, where the heartbeat ceased, and the temperature continued to drop until it registered 9 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, but...
So they killed her.
Right.
But then they bring her back up?
Yes.
So they resuscitated her. Because I was like, a corpse gets pretty cold. You're describing death.
So the patient recovered consciousness after like about 10 hours after the procedure. She was back to her normal body temperature. Her mental condition, intelligence, like she could recognize everyone. Everything was fine. But her cancer did not regress. And unfortunately, she died 38 days later.
Okay.
It's just that the cancer was like widespread and there was very little that the doctors could do.
Weird.
Huh. So it's weird that she's the only one, right? This is a...
No, I find it more believable that this happened in like the 50s under these kinds of conditions that we would never replicate nowadays. It's this weird fluke thing. Like, they were doing this to hundreds of people, thousands of people who mostly died, but this one person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like this whole procedure was extremely dangerous.
That's why it stands out, because it worked.
Yeah, and the reason that no one has beaten it is because trying to replicate it would be extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
So like...
I mean, from the medical side, you don't need to do it anymore. You can just transfer your heart's work to an outside machine, basically, and bypass your heart, and then you can even do open heart surgery.
Right.
And the person's still alive.
Yeah.
But you're just not having the heart work.
Right.
So
Their
like
heart
we wouldn't
isn't
even
beating.
need to do this anymore.
Right. So that's what they were doing. They were cooling her body so that her heart would stop.
Yeah, so that they can then do the surgery without worrying that
she's going to bleed everywhere.
Yeah, she's going to bleed everywhere, especially with like uterine or ovarian cancers. Like there's lots of blood vessels. So this would be very risky if you're trying to cut out a huge tumor or something that's very, very well perfused with blood.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so that's why it's like an old-timey surgical method was to cool a body to slow the heart down. This seems very believable in that sense.
Yeah.
They weren't just trying to cool her to beat a record.
Yeah.
They just happened to
Right.
cool her. 9 degrees is nuts.
They must have had such a hard time preventing damage to the rest of her cells, you know, the rest of her body, her skin and everything, because that's really cold.
That's really cold. 9 degrees, 48 degrees. So like the lie could be that it was even colder.
Sure. That sounds a lot like Mr. Freeze and Batman. Like, this is sketchy.
Oh my God. this one I find more believable than the first one. So here's
Okay.
some more.
Cool. So let's move on. Fact number 3. The worst sound to the human ear is that of flatulence.
Wait, this is a record in Guinness Book of World Records. Worst sound.
Yes.
This sounds so subjective. How could you have a record for this?
So this was a study that was done in 2007 by this professor of acoustic engineering at Salford University in England. And so his group of scientists and him, they wanted to understand why some sounds are so horrible. But it's mostly like our reactions to them is part of what makes us human. So the researchers gave like 34 sounds and then they sought opinions. And 1.1 million votes came in and then they analyzed it.
What else was on there?
Number 1, of course, was flatulence.
I was wondering if we could guess.
Yeah, let's guess the
Try to
other.
guess them?
Family Feud style.
Yeah, yeah.
Survey says.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Number 2.
I was going to say also 1.3 million people haven't heard Tanner make a dumb joke. Otherwise, that would be up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2.
People eating.
People eating.
Chewing. Is that on the list?
No,
It's not on the top 10?
it's not on the top 10.
Well, then I think all of this sounds like BS because that is
Yeah, right.
certainly people hate that sound.
What about just the word moist?
That wasn't an option.
Oh.
No.
How about like burping?
I don't see it on the top 10.
Oh my
no.
God. What are other annoying sounds?
Is
Like
it
a
like-
siren?
Nails on a chalkboard?
I'll give you number 2. Number 2 is microphone feedback.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's
When the
a
mic gets too close to the
that's
speaker.
Yeah.
terrible sound.
Yeah. For someone who has to listen to like podcast episodes, to me, it's mouth sounds. It's all the lip smacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say babies crying is an obvious one.
It's number 3.
Number 3?
Yes.
Babies crying.
Wailing babies. Yes. My favorite is number 6, which is poorly played violin.
Oh, yes. Poorly played violin.
I love that. Yeah.
What, like cats mating? Is that
Oh,
on there?
yes. Oh, my God. Caterwauling is just like...
Yeah. But passing gas or flatulence, number 1.
So to me, something that's natural, like flatulence or babies crying, shouldn't be disgusting. So this must hit you somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, this is a private thing. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Or this reminds me of feces. So then it's disgusting,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
But if this was a lie,
Yeah.
then you just swap one of those other top 10 in there.
Yeah, this would be such an easy place to lie. That's where part of the problem with it is like it could just be anything else.
Yeah.
And you could easily say you should have known because there are a lot of annoying sounds out there.
Right.
So it sounds also like super weird to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. So
Right.
I do find this one really sketchy.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical of this one as
Yeah.
well. Oh, we got one more. Let's hear it.
Number 4. There's no current record holder of the world's heaviest man.
World's heaviest man is no one.
No. Yes.
Is there a world's heaviest woman?
There is. Yes.
Okay, but not man.
No.
Okay. Well, this immediately makes you ask, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Guinness Book of World Records, they have been keeping this record since 1955 when they
Yeah.
recorded the first heaviest man. In November 2016, Guinness Book had the record for the world's heaviest human, which was Juan Pedro Franco Salas of the Mexican city of Aguascalientes. He was reported to weigh 594.8 kg, which is 1,311 pounds.
Wow. Half a ton.
Yeah.
Yes. And the reason why they don't have the record is because in May 2017, Franco had lost 170 kg, which is 374 pounds. Then he had a gastric bypass surgery, and the last available data is of November 2018, and he reached 304 kg.
Oh.
Okay.
So that brings them down to like the overall list. And that's why currently he doesn't hold the record anymore because he lost all of this weight. So that's why this is vacant and Guinness Book of World Records is looking now. Because the only way Guinness Book can find out when somebody approaches them or there is some news in the media where people want to talk about their obesity. And it's of course not the nicest thing to talk about.
So it's available?
Yes, they're looking for stories like this. Yeah.
Oh, they haven't found the
They haven't
person
found anyone who
yet.
could beat that weight.
So he was the most recent holder, though.
Yes, the most recent holder. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like the current heaviest person on Earth, we don't know.
No.
And that's a really interesting record then because, people's weight moves.
Changes,
right?
Yeah.
So it's not like something else that's static and then you hold it for the rest of your life until someone comes and breaks it.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you went down in weight. Do you no longer hold the record? Yeah, that's weird.
So that's why they say, okay, this is vacant.
I mean, if it's not true, then someone does hold it currently.
Right.
That's pretty easy to lie. I'm kind of inclined to believe it because the story makes sense to me that it was recent. This guy reached this weight and then came back down. So what do you do as Guinness?
Right.
You say, well, there's no one. He's not the holder anymore. So
We don't know who the heaviest person alive is.
Right.
Because the person we knew who was the heaviest is no longer as heavy. But
Right.
also, though, it stands to reason he is still the heaviest.
Yeah.
That's not impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing sounds really weird to me. I don't really get it because how is he not just the heaviest person?
Because he lost all his weight,
Yeah,
right?
but he at one point in his life was measured to be that heavy.
Yeah.
So he's the heaviest person.
Yeah.
But these kind of records, as I see, it changes when somebody, because for example, the fastest man on earth, right? Usain Bolt, because he did it in 9.7 seconds.
Right.
That's it. Now, if somebody does in 9.5 seconds,
Yeah.
Usain Bolt will no longer be the fastest
Of
man.
course.
Right.
Yes.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Even if you asked like Usain Bolt to do it again and he didn't get it as fast, he's still the fastest.
Right.
Even if he can't do it again, he did it once,
Like
so he's
this-
still the fastest.
So the heaviest person was this guy. Even if he's no longer that heavy, he's still that guy.
Right? Shouldn't it?
If that's true, I have a bone to pick with Guinness because that's pretty weird.
That's very bizarre. And yeah, so I think maybe that's a lie. There's totally a person who has this record.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the category would be vacant. That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, those are some extreme facts, and we will have to weigh them carefully and figure out which one of them is a lie. But before we do so, could you please repeat the four of them?
Yeah. So, fact number 1. The strongest human bite had a strength of 442 kg and lasted 2 seconds. Fact number 2. The lowest temperature to which a human body has been intentionally cooled is 9 degrees Celsius. Fact number 3. The worst sound to the human ear is that of flatulence. And number 4. There's no current record holder of the world's heaviest man.
Huh. One is a lie.
All right. I think number 2, I feel like it's the least sketchy. So that one I'm going to throw out.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the other 3.
Okay.
The bite sounds ridiculous. It
Yeah.
also sounds like, how is there not a stronger bite somewhere? How has no one bitten something harder?
Yeah. Talking about hundreds versus thousands for other animals.
Yeah. So then I'm thinking 3 and 4.
Yeah.
4 is sketchy. It's just simply, is there a person in that spot?
Right.
I'm not persuaded by the reasoning why there isn't one.
Right.
So that makes me think that there is one.
Okay. So you think there is a heaviest person?
Just because like he lost weight seems
Right.
like, well, now you guys are just being petty. This
Come
seems really
on.
petty. Bunch of Irish people being all petty.
Come on.
So then I'm thinking number 3 is also so subjective.
That's so true because it's different from the other 3.
Yeah.
Where there was a holder, there was a record holder. They went and tested it. This was like they asked 1 million people. That's very different.
Yeah, right. And then also like the lie could just simply be it's something not farting.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
So the whole story is still true,
Yeah.
but it's a different
It's babies.
sound.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go with that one.
You go with that one?
I think it's the baby crying or something different.
Man, it's hard. I guess I'll go with number 4.
Okay.
I think somebody holds that record.
Sure. Maybe this guy, maybe someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's see.
So we've got facts number 3 and 4. If anyone's looking to become the world's heaviest man, sure, go ahead. The place is vacant according to Guinness Book of World Records.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It just seems petty.
Yeah,
like, they
give it
were
back
like,
to that guy.
They're like, what was his name?
Juan.
Juan?
Yes.
Why? That's just petty. Like, you lost weight. Now we don't care about you anymore. Like, what? He's still the heaviest.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the Usain Bolt rule.
Yeah, which means it brings us to fact number 3. And sometimes things are simple because they are simple. It's not farting. The worst sound to the human ear, according to the 1.1 million votes, is vomiting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's all practice vomiting. Just
I actually should have thought of that one
Yeah.
because Tanner vomiting is the scariest thing in the world.
I'm really good at vomiting.
It's not a skill.
I call it werewolf. He's the werewolf.
Yeah.
He hunches over the toilet and he's got his back all curved and like gets goosebumps, so it looks like fur is coming out of his back, and then he roars at the toilet. Like he doesn't vomit quietly. He roars at the toilet.
Yeah.
So you should have thought of the.
I guess I should have thought of that.
Yeah. It's surprising we talked about so many sounds, but none of you mentioned.
Honestly, it doesn't bother. Again, a lot of these
But that
naturals,
sound
they don't
bothers you
bother me.
when I do it.
Yeah.
Well, what bothers me about it is not that it's the puking sound, it's that it's so obnoxious. Yeah. So I guess I can see how other people, what I've learned is that I have a very different set of things that annoy me compared to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the simplest lie is the slickest lie.
I like that.
Well, I should have known.
I should have known.
Thanks for listening to this episode of I Should Have Known. Next week, we're going to finish up the human body theme with a very special episode on aging. So be on the lookout for that. And we are now on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, do the whole YouTube thing, like, share, subscribe. If you are watching on a typical podcast platform, please leave us a review. And yeah, let us know what you think is the most disgusting sound. I'm very curious about some other people's opinions. And let us know if you got Soups' lie. And as always, thanks for listening. Ooh, it's the speedy ones.